Hi, my name is Lance McCarthy, Windows Platform Development MVP and Senior Support Specialist at Telerik. I'm excited to have this opportunity to introduce you to Windows Phone App Studio and help you with some basics to get you started building great Windows Phone apps. I have been writing Windows Phone apps since September of 2010 and have many apps in both the Windows Phone and Windows stores. I find it a magical experience seeing your creation come alive on a physical device, and it's a very rewarding experience when your apps are actually downloaded and rated by the end user. So I'm here today to help you start the magical journey of Windows Phone development, especially using App Studio. This course is intended to introduce you to Windows Phone app development and get you jump started into quickly designing and producing content-driven apps using App Studio. You will learn about enhancing App Studio created apps using Visual Studio while understanding how to leverage common programming building blocks in a Windows Phone app. Ultimately, you will also learn how to take your creation and make it publicly available on the Windows Phone App Store. The opportunities for what you can do with your app after you've created it with App Studio are really only limited by your creativity and drive to learn more about app development. This course is broken up over 6 sessions, including some self-paced exercises and supplemental videos, and some interspersed knowledge checks. In this intro session, I'll establish a baseline understanding of apps in the context of the current mobile market. We'll take a look at a breakdown of the types of apps commonly created, how you might go about building them, and how App Studio can get you jump-started into building your own apps. In session 2, we'll take a look at the process of building an app using App Studio. We'll walk through the various parts of App Studio and build a sample app using some common features. In session 3, we start diving a little deeper into app development. We'll get an understanding of app navigation, controls, data sources, and bindings. Then we'll bring our App Studio app over to Visual Studio and explore dynamic data sources in the Windows Phone emulator. In session 4, we will take a closer look at the Visual Studio solution created for us by App Studio. We will then perform some basic debugging and then make some changes in our app and add a new feature. Session 5 touches upon the Event Dispatcher and explores some additional capabilities of Windows Phone apps, such as customized behaviors, storing data in our program, and activating Windows Phone features from within our app. Session 6 covers the basics of getting a Windows Phone app into the App Store. We will prepare an app for publication and take a look at certification process. Finally, we will perform a quick review of the material we covered. Recently, BusinessInsider.com exposed a number of facts about the mobile market that can really help understand the importance of mobile apps. As you can see, the growth rate in mobile usage is astounding, and mobile is actually supplanting PCs and laptops as the primary route to interacting with the internet. All of this data really confirms that mobile apps and mobile content provide a primary route to users and consumers. Mobile apps are quickly becoming a de facto delivery channel for modern applications. Let's level set by establishing a mutual understanding of what an app is. According to the Oxford Dictionary, an app is a self-contained program or piece of software designed to fulfill a particular purpose. An application, especially downloaded by a user to a mobile device. When one hears the term app, one generally associates them with a mobile device, such as a smartphone or a tablet device. The 3 prevalent mobile platforms expose a massive collection of apps through their own respective app stores. On these stores, you can find a myriad of different types of apps with purposes and uses beyond what most people can imagine. If you were to survey the range of applications you would find on any of the app stores, you'd be able to categorize them into a fairly concise set of categories. This set of 5 groupings is one way of slicing them up into categories. You may recognize many of these applications. In this course, you will be building an informational or promotional style app using Windows App Studio. What you should recognize in this breadth of apps is that they are far from being cookie-cutter apps delivering minimally varied content. Instead, you have a range of apps serving diverse purposes. For informational apps like CNN and Macy's, the app is not the business, but is instead a way to promote its message or products to attract or retain customers and followers. While there may be extended functionality for these apps, the primary purpose is to provide a channel to expose and share information. Our app will focus on turning your content and ideas into a quality app. Whether your desire is to build a profitable app for sale on an app store, or simply to share information on a subject that you're passionate about, App Studio is a great route to build your first app. While other people's drivers for creating a mobile app vary widely, as you can see, many of the reasons correspond to information sharing, which makes App Studio a great tool for establishing a mobile app presence. With the lure of quick revenue so within arm's reach, many companies and developers are clamoring to push mobile apps out the door. This sadly leads to a glut of nondescript, overlapping, and generally lackluster apps that one must sort through to find relevant, useful, and capable apps. All of this makes it a good idea to ask yourself questions about the relevancy of your app. Is an app the right approach? Perhaps your information would be better shared through web content. Building a mobile web presence might be as easy as restyling existing pages or content, which could be considerably cheaper than building a fully functional app. If an app is a good choice for you, how will you go about making it stand out? If you build your app to be a cross-platform app, do you have an understanding of the different app stores and how to make your app discoverable? A discoverable app is one that is easy to find, regardless of the different notions each user might have about your app. For example, if someone doesn't know the specific name of your app, will they be able to find it? You might have heard of search engine optimization for websites, or SEO. Consider this the same concept for apps on app stores. For this and many other reasons, I highly recommend performing some due diligence before investing time and effort in your app idea. Once you've decided to take the plunge in developing an app, you'll find that Windows Phone app development isn't dissimilar from most any other development paradigm. Windows Phone developers will use a programming language in conjunction with the development environment. In the development environment, you can edit the code, debug your application, test, and package for deployment or distribution. Once the app is complete, distributing your app amounts to uploading it to one of the mobile stores that make it generally available to the public. We will take a quick walk through each one of these aspects in this course. How will you develop your application can vary depending on which platform you are targeting. For developers targeting a single mobile device, they might choose one of these options. While these languages and development environments are not the only options available for each platform, they are the most commonly used. One should note that building apps that target only one platform is not the only way to bring an app to the market. Cross-platform development is possible with some approaches. This allows you to build an app once and distribute it on all devices. More information about cross-platform development can be found in the extension guide and in the Windows App Studio blogs. With all this mention of Windows App Studio, we should probably define what it is we've been discussing. Windows App Studio is a web-based tool that allows you to build information and promotion type Windows and Windows Phone apps by using a point-and-click paradigm with no coding required. The apps that are produced with App Studio can be taken directly to the Windows Store or further enhanced with custom code by opening the project in Visual Studio. The beauty of App Studio is that it lowers the bar for entry into app development by completely removing the requirement for coding knowledge. Any user can produce a Windows Phone app through simple website interactions. Let's take a quick look at getting started in App Studio. This requires a Microsoft account, but that's okay if you don't have one. It's quick and easy to set up. Go to appstudio.windows.com. Here is the main page. When you sign in, you'll see a button up there, sign in. You sign in with your Microsoft account. You'll want to select Start New, and we're just going to pick an empty app to begin. First thing you'll see is a preview of what the app would look like. As you can see here, there's a Windows tablet on the right and a Windows Phone on the left. I'm going to click Create. The first spot you land on is the content page. Right now, we're just going to jump right over to publish info so we can give the app a name and an icon. So I'm going to say demo app just for now. We're not going to publish this, but I just want to show you how easy it is. You see how I selected the icon square? This works on any image part of App Studio. If it accepts an icon, you just click it and you'll get this pop-up. In the pop-up, you see My Computer, My OneDrive, and App Studio resources. So I can upload any PNG from my computer. I can pick one from my linked OneDrive that's connected to my Microsoft account, or I can choose App Studio resources. For brevity, I'll choose App Studio resources. As you can see, there are a bunch of icons that come, both dark and light. I'm going to choose just an easy one right here. We'll do coffee and a newspaper. If you hit select, there it is. It's added. You can also see it in the top left here. Your title is reflected on the left side. Whenever you make any changes, always click Save, and then you can move on to the next tab. Let's revisit the type of app that App Studio is best suited for creating. Earlier, we took a look at the broad range of app types you might encounter on an app store. We also briefly discussed the breadth of information and promotion type apps that exist today. App Studio is well suited to build this range of apps type. Whether you want to make a fan app for your favorite band, or you want to expose items related to a very specific hobby in a special storefront app, App Studio can help. If the information exists on the internet right now, the odds are that you can expose it to your app created by App Studio. That said, it is important to note that you need to take care when using information on the internet. Be sure to investigate copyrights, privacy, and ownership of any content that you leverage in your app. So what does the process look like for building an app? In this diagram, you will likely follow one of two possible paths. Either you will work entirely within App Studio and follow the boxes along the top, or you'll take your app from App Studio and carry it into Visual Studio to modify it further before publishing it. It is important to note that there is no requirement to use Visual Studio or perform any coding when using App Studio. This diagram illustrates a life cycle. In software terms, this refers to not only the process of publishing an app, but also what you can do with an app that has reached the hands of users. Successful apps and software products will always monitor feedback to further improve their apps and products. If you do this for an App Studio app, updates are as simple as going back to App Studio and adjusting the functionality using App Studio. If you follow the bottom path, this will require updates in Visual Studio. After you update in Visual Studio, you can rebuild and republish a revision to any app you produce. So go ahead and take a look at the slides and materials that accompany this session now. If you haven't had a chance to create a Microsoft account, you will want to do this before starting the next video. In the next video, we will be jumping right into building your first